All right, we're back again today, and I'm going to be diving into my men's and women's picks for the 400-meter dash. Looking forward to the Olympic trials kicking off in just a few days. Now, earlier today, I did give you my breakdown and my top three for the women's 200. A couple weeks ago, I gave you my kind of breakdown of the global landscape of the men's 200. Go check out that video, as that kind of gives you my top three in the men's 200. Noah Lyles, Kenny B, Ariane Nain. We're going to see them at USA's. But men's and women's 400-meter dash. Gonna go quick, not gonna go to the deep dive that I've been doing for the hundreds and the women's 200, but let's talk about who's making this team. First off, on the women's side, this is going to be pretty competitive because it's a very, very wide open field. You don't have any kind of clear favorite when we look forward to the Olympic trials, but you do have some very strong names that are going to be in this conversation. Number one I'm looking at is Kaylen Brown. Kaylen Brown from the University of Arkansas. She just came off second place at the NCAA championships, only behind Nikisha Price, who of course ran that 48-second run. But we did see Kaylen Brown. She managed to run 49.13 seconds. That made her the second fastest NCAA athlete ever. That tied the previous NCAA record that was set by Britton Wilson, also from the University of Arkansas. But when you look at the landscape of what she's done all throughout the season, she has been clicking off 49 seconds multiple times. What's crazy, she's still only 19 years old, and I'm kind of picking her to win this entire thing. I think that Kaylen Brown is in the best position to win the title. Now, not sure how it's going to be for her to translate over from NCAAs, going into USAs. She's still extremely young. I think prior to Arkansas, her personal best was like 53 seconds. So we're going to see how that translates, but I think that she is in a slight favorite position to win the whole thing. But number two, it's going to surprise a couple people, but I'm looking at Alexis Holmes. Alexis Holmes has been arguably a mainstay when talking about the 400 this year, maybe coming off of last year as well. But she got the bronze medal at the World Indoor Championships earlier this year behind Femke Bol as well as Lieke Klaver. She's been relatively consistent in the 50-second range this year, right? She's run, I think, 50.2 seconds, in 2024. So we'll see how she kind of plays out. I think that her experience might actually bring her through to potentially win the title. I think that she's going to be able to get into that 49-second range and really, put something down very, very strong. But Alexis Holmes, definitely one to keep a lookout for. She is turning into a very strong contender for, one of the consistent 400-meter runners for the United States. And let's not forget, last year she was on the mixed 4x4 that got the gold medal for the United States in Budapest, right? She also ran the 4x4, of course, some hiccups there, but Alexis Holmes, definitely one to keep a lookout for. Now, behind them, I'm looking at Gabby Thomas. Now, of course, we'll talk about some caveats here, but I think that Gabby Thomas is going to finish in the top three. She, of course, is doubling in both the 400 as well as the 200, but they're a complete week apart, right? 400 is in the first part of the trials, and then 200 is in the second part. I think she wouldn't be doubling up if she didn't think she was in a great position and in great form to finish top three in both of them. Now, I think she said that she's running the 400 to make the team, right, in terms of the relay. Now, individually, the schedule for the 400-200 double is essentially impossible when talking about the Olympic Games, but I think that she could finish top three here. Personal best of 49.68 seconds from, I think, last year. She's run 50 seconds this year, so I like where Gabby Thomas is at to finish top three. And again, the fact that she's doubling at Olympic trials really tells me that she is in some excellent form. So keep a lookout for her, but it is not easy to behind her, right? It is not easy behind these women. I'm looking at someone like Talitha Diggs. Talitha Diggs just set a season's best out at the New York City Grand Prix. She, of course, has made the past two World Championship teams in Eugene 2022, as well as Budapest 2023 last year. She made the final last year in Budapest, the only American to do so. I like Talitha Diggs. It's going to be tough. I mean, she has that potential to go sub 50 seconds once again, right? Her personal best is already sub 50, but we're going to see. I think she's been a little bit, not in the form that she was last year, but let me be clear. She could very likely make this team. And then I have someone like Rosie Effiong, right? Rosie Effiong, she ran 49 seconds for the first time at NCAAs just 2 weeks ago, got the fourth place to, complete that Arkansas sweep at NCAAs at 1, 2, 3, 4. But I do like Rosie Effiong. She didn't make the team last year, but she did go to Budapest running on the mixed 4x4. So she has a little bit of international experience that might be able to carry her through to potentially, get onto the team here. Again, I really think that between all these women that I'm listing here, it's a very, very wide open field. Since essentially Allison Felix retired, it's been an open season for the women's 400, and it's been open across the board. So we're going to see how things really play out, but that's my top three right now. I'm looking at Kaylen Brown, I'm looking at Alexis Holmes, and then Gabby Thomas, but then someone like Talitha Diggs, Rosie Effiong, even someone like Cornera Hayes, right? Lena Irby-Jackson, they can all be in that conversation. Now, that's the women's 400. Let's talk about the men's 400, where this one maybe is a little bit more wide open, but I do think for the most part, Michael Norman, he's the clear favorite. It's tough to say clear considering, you know, no one has run extremely fast. Michael Norman leads the year with 44.21 seconds, which was his season's opener. He then ran 44.5 seconds, I think, at the LA Grand Prix after that. And those have been his only 2 races this year, I think, right? He might have run a 4x4. Someone could fact check me, but I don't think he's run anything outside of those 2 races. But I actually think that's a good thing. Considering what he did last year where he wanted to switch to the 100, he got injured, switched coaches, all those kind of things. I think that him limiting the amount of races that he has this year has been a benefit and is going to help him going to the Olympic trials. Last time at the Olympic trials in 2021, Michael Norman, of course, won that, but he didn't do well in Tokyo. Then 2022, he got the World Championship gold medal. And then, like I said, he's been dealing with ups and downs, injuries, coaching changes, all that stuff. So I like Michael Norman to get the win here. He very likely could go sub 44 seconds. I think he wants to kind of make a statement saying like, listen, I'm back, right? Yes, I've been dealing with some things, but I am back and I'm ready to prove that, yo, I want to get this gold medal. I want to get this Olympic gold medal. I'm one of the best in history, 43.45 personal best. Don't sleep on my potential. So Michael Norman, he's my number 1. Number 2, this is going to be interesting, but I'm actually looking at Christopher Bailey to get the 2nd place spot. 44.42 personal best that he ran this year in Atlanta at his home meet. I got a chance to speak with him after that race. I mean, Chris Bailey has low-key been having an amazing season. Not only that personal best, but then he went to New York City, the New York Grand Prix, and he got 2nd place behind Karani James. And he beat out a very high-quality field, right? Beat out some Americans, beat out Wade Van Niekerk. So I like where Christopher Bailey is at. And I think that this is going to be his time. He's been so consistent all throughout 2024, and I like him to make the team. That's going to be my 2nd place. 3rd place, Vernon Norwood. Vernon Norwood has been a mainstay. You know, he's always been called a quote-unquote relay guy. I mean, yes, he's been on so many relays. He has a bunch of medals, but I think this is going to be his time to get on the team, maybe challenge for a medal. I like where Vernon Norwood is at. Now, this year he's run 44.68, but he's been very consistent in the 44-second range. And last year he got 4th place, just edged out by Quincy Hall to the 3rd place medal, the bronze medal at the World Championship. So I do like Vernon Norwood. This is, man, he's been a mainstay. He deserves to get on that team and get on the podium, but we're going to see how that plays out. But that's my top 3, Michael Norman, Christopher Bailey, Vernon Norwood. But let me be clear, just like the women, this is wide open. Quincy Hall, he got the bronze medal at the World Championships last year, right? He actually beat out Vernon Norwood at the, I think it was the Stockholm Diamond League earlier this season. You also have someone like Bryce Deadman. Bryce Deadman has run 44.4 seconds this year. He's number 2 behind Michael Norman in terms of Americans, but he hasn't been as consistent. That was a little bit earlier in the season. He hasn't been as consistent in that 44 range, but Bryce Deadman, USA champion from last year, he could surprise, right? You also have Judson Lincoln, right? He's run 44.5 seconds, and he's actually been relatively consistent in the 44-second range. So I like where all these guys are at, but I'm going to stick with my Michael Norman pick. I'm going to stick with Christopher Bailey, Vernon Norwood. That's going to be my top 3. But as always, I need y'all to go in the comments. Let me know who you think is going to be the top 3 for the men's and the women's 400 as we look forward to the Olympic trials coming up in just a couple days. Let me know what you think, and let me know what time you think it's going to, is going to win the Olympic trials in both the men's and the women's 400. Will someone in the women's 400 run 48 seconds? We've been seeing so many of them. I mean, Kaylin Brown is right there, 49.1. Or could we see someone in the men's 400 run 43 seconds? Michael Norman, he's already done it a couple times throughout his career. Could he do it here? Let me know what you think. Always appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.